This morning I'm going to be bringing you a message from Matthew chapter 14, verses 28 through 33. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. So he said, Come. And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt? And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, Truly you are the Son of God. Are you comfortable this morning? I think most of us would say yes to that question. But it's comfort that oftentimes causes us to get in a spiritual rut. Our faith walk can't grow unless we get out of the boat and get out of our comfort zone. Here's a little story that illustrates kind of our reluctance to be stretched in our faith. A man was being chased by a tiger. He ran as hard as he could until he was at the edge of a cliff. With the tiger in hot pursuit, the man looked over the edge of the cliff and saw a branch growing out of the side of the cliff a few feet down. He jumped down and grabbed the branch just as the tiger reached the cliff. The tiger growled viciously as the man sighed a great sigh of relief. Just then a mouse came out from a crevice and began to chew on the branch. The man looked down to what was a drop of 1,000 feet and sure death and looked to the heavens and yelled out, Dear God, if you are there, please help. I will do anything you ask, but please help. Suddenly a voice came booming down from heaven. You will do anything I ask? It questioned. The man, shocked to hear a reply to his plea, yelled back, I will gladly do anything you ask, but please save me. The voice from heaven then replied, There is one way to save you, but it will growling a few feet away above the man. Please, Lord, tell me what I must do, and I will do it. Your will is my will. The voice from heaven then said, All right then, let go of the branch. The man looked down to a fall of 1,000 feet and certain death. He looked up at the hungry tiger a few feet away, and he looked at the mouse still chewing on the branch. Then he looked up at the heavens and yelled, Is there anyone else up there? Sometimes that's how we are. First question you have to ask yourself from this text is why would we be reluctant to get out of the boat? And there's three reasons why. First reason we're reluctant to get out of the boat is because the boat represents a comfort zone. We all have a security blanket, a security zone that we like to stay in. Linus from the Peanuts had his little blanket that he carried around. Even Matthew's got a little blanket and a bear that he sleeps with every night. He's so used to it that we're having a hard time breaking that. You know, it's no different than watching Matthew when he took his first steps. Matthew had to step out of his comfort zone and let go to take that first step. And when he did, it was an uneasy step, but he walked for a few feet before he grabbed onto something else. Unless we get rid of that security blanket, we'll never grow. We'll never take that leap. Another reason is fear. We fear what other people might say about what we're doing. We fear failure. We fear sinking like Peter, Another reason, and this is the third reason, is doubt. We all have that doubt in the back of our mind. I'm sure Peter was probably thinking, was that really Jesus who called me out onto the water? Is it really possible to step out on the water and walk? But he was the only one in that boat who took the leap of faith. And he did walk on the water until he got caught up in all that was going on around him. He wasn't worried about failure and doubt. But there's reasons why we should get out of the boat too. The first reason being that risk leads to great reward. How many times have you stretched your faith and been rewarded greatly for it? The second reason is because faith is like a muscle. Your muscles don't grow unless you exercise them. 2 Peter 3:18 tells us to grow in the grace and knowledge of the Lord our Jesus Christ. To him be the glory both now and forever. If we don't stretch ourselves, our faith just stays. And the third reason is because Jesus is outside the boat, waiting to save us, to stretch out his hand if we fail, if we can't worry about that. Jesus is there. Jesus was there to save Peter. He was close enough to grab his hand and pull him out of the water. I have another little story here. It's about a track and field runner back in the Barcelona Olympics. A man named Derek Redmond. He dreamed all of his life of winning a gold medal in the 400-meter race, and his dream was in sight as the gun sounded in the semifinals at Barcelona. He was running the race of his life and could see the finish line as he rounded the turn into the back stretch. Suddenly he felt a sharp pain go up the back of his leg. He fell face first onto the track with a torn right hamstring. Sports Illustrated recorded the dramatic events. As the medical attendants were approaching, Redmond fought to his feet. It was animal instinct, he would say later. He set out hopping in a crazed attempt to finish the race. When he reached the stretch, a large man in a t-shirt came out of the stands, hurled aside a security guard, and ran to Redmond, embracing him. It was Jim Redmond, Derek's father. "You don't have to do this," he told his weeping son. "Yes, I do," said Derek. "Well then," said Jim, "we're going to finish this race together." And they did, fighting off security men, the son's head sometimes buried in his father's shoulder. They stayed in Derek's lane all the way to the end as the crowd gaped and then rose and howled and wept. Derek didn't win any gold medal, but he walked away with the incredible memory of his father who, when he saw his son in pain, left his seat in the stands to help him finish the race. We have a Heavenly Father that will do the same, that would help us finish the race. So, if you step out of that boat, don't worry about sinking, because you might. Don't worry about failing, because you might. But the Lord always has His hand outstretched to take us to the end, to take us that next step, to carry on further in our faith. He said He would be with us to the end of the age. And I know it's short, but that's all I got.